Hello everybody, and we're back. This time around we're taking a look at the Stromgarde mod, and I'm going to be editing a bit of it. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I actually wanted to change this particular area. I want to remove the way that the road is thin and separates this sort of like landing platform from the road. I think that while in the game it actually doesn't look good, so I'm going to go ahead and remove some of these elements and just make it into a sort of work in progress plaza. And the way we're going to do that is quite simply just retexturing this area, removing some of the stonework walls that are there, and yep. So it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what we want. We'll just reduce the little draw tool here a bit more, and we're going to begin to draw it this way, I think. And we want to concentrate on the very edge here, trim some of this out, and then we want to go ahead and frame it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select some of these elements, put them a little bit closer into to the house, and build off of that. So hopefully it should all work together. So what, as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a couple of elements. In this case, some of these not perimeter walls, I don't even know what to call them, but the walls that are at the edges of the roads themselves, and just sort of cut this area at this point. I'll go ahead and I'll do more work on the area, and I'll come back after that. All right, so now that I went ahead and just modified a couple of the details, moved some of the things a little bit closer into where the construction bricks were being made, we have pretty much the plaza expansion that that we were looking for. But just sort of like looking on the sides here of some of the troop elements, and it sort of reminds me that I actually need to go around and correct a couple of elements that I don't think I was fully happy with. So I think part of that will involve just doing some detail work around the church, and I'll come back after that taken care of. So some detail work on the cemetery and on the other side of the map is something that was really needed. I think it sort of helps bring everything back together. We're sort of looking at the comparison right now of what the ruined area of Stromgarde is versus the area that has been restored. It looks about like 50-50, which means that if I ever did decide to like just do the full restoration of Stromgarde, aside from like having to redo the walls, it wouldn't be that difficult to actually fully restore it. Though I do think that we would probably use some sort of custom keep so that everything looks and feels right. I'm just going to go ahead and remove some of these spikes as well because, you know, in the long run, you add some details sometimes to maps. You think it's a good idea, and then later on you look at them and it's not so great. So I think the walls look cleaner this way. I mean, we've already got the scaffolds and wood planks and whatnot there. And I think that is probably everything we really need to do right now in terms of the walls. What I'm going to do right now is I think I'm going to work on a little bit of the elevation of the terrain here in the cemetery and maybe around the area. So after I'm done tweaking that, we'll come back and we'll take a look at what we've just finished doing. All right, so we've finished tweaking a bit of the cemetery here. I'm just putting a little bit of plant life into it. For the most part, I think I'm happy, at least for the time being. I don't want to be too repetitive with what I've done. I also did a bit of work on the alleys, and I didn't actually record some of that, but it's minor work, and you'll get to see it once we go into the patch itself. So so here we are with the Stromgarde mod, and what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead, export the files for the mods, put them into a patch, and load that into the game and see what we got. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody. So we are here, and before I actually apply all the changes that I've made to the map, I just decided to give us sort of like a quick round of where we are right now with the Stromgarde mod. Suddenly I got a bit confused which direction I was facing. That's the exit of the city. So the changes that I wanted to do was essentially pretty much from here on to over there. I just really wasn't happy with the way that this looked, like the segmentation. I think that it would be better, right, if this were a solid plaza with some work still going on. So it's a minor change. I think it's going to look a lot better than what we currently have right now. So I'll just go ahead and jump and show you what that's going to look like if we were looking at it from this point. Okay, so we'll be right back with the patch. All right, and we're back, and this time around the mod files have been incorporated. So as you can see, I removed this area, and it's still sort of under construction. exactly, but now it's more of a large plaza area as opposed to what it was before. I think this looks better than what we had before, and yeah, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. Another series of changes that were done not in the last session, or this session's, sorry, video, was the back of this area, which is sort of the alleyway. And yeah, so we have a bit of the alleyway that's been sort of like prepped and cleaned up. It still looks very, how can I say, maybe sparse. Maybe there's a couple of elements. I'll add a couple of mushrooms here. I do want to add some hanging clothes, so I have to find that like here and here. And then we go through this back area as well, where you're going to have another tent of sorts, and then you're just going to have, you know, this old statue here in the back, all looking pretty decent, if I don't say so myself. So as to what we'll have here, I don't know, probably some vendors of some sort. What type of vendors? I don't know, poison vendors, NPC vendors, whatever it might be. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see exactly what that is. But that's the implementation so far of the current patch. And I think that it's going to be good. I think I'll start perhaps prepping this area for release as well. I made some advancement, just to let all of you know, in which I've now put all of the patches into one file, so it'll be a lot easier for me to actually generate mods out of that and be able to put it out. So I think we're pretty close to this area. I'm just going to finish putting some details onto that, and you know, you can have this as an add-on if you want this area to be part of the Stromgarde, and if you have a private server or whatever and you want to create a faction or make it a bit more believable, then yeah, you can go ahead at. Another thing that I did is I removed the spikes, but I didn't fully upgrade, so I'm just noticing right now that these have to go as well. But yeah, aside from that, I think the area is pretty close to, you know, being done. We have sort of the green areas, we have the houses, we have the sort of like stable slash bank that operates as a bank house. So, you know, once we go in here, and we'll have some bank tellers in the stalls, that'll work pretty well. We'll probably have, maybe we'll have an auctioneer standing on top of that. Yeah, so that should be good. This will be good for smithing area. And what else? Not much. I think that's pretty much it that we have to do for this zone. I'm trying to remember right now if there is a... I'll have to take a look and see what's going on with the terrain here and why I'm flickering. I don't think there should be an issue with it, but yeah, I will probably make an NPC character for this area, but that's more on my end and less on the patch. That's not something that even when you download the patch you won't be able to have unless you have a custom server and unless you were making your own NPCs. Alright, so until next week, we'll be back and I'll be editing some more of these videos. I don't know exactly what video is going to be, but stay tuned, more to come. Alright, so until then, bye-bye.